Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video on 6 books, and it seems like I haven't done one of these videos since like last year, which obviously it was last year. So some of these books were good, some were just okay, so let's just get right into it. So this book is about the King's Speech, how one man saved the British monarchy, and this was actually a movie that they made like, I don't even know how many years ago it was, maybe like I'm going to say close to 10 years, and it's about Queen Elizabeth II's father when he was King George the Sixth, I think it was. I think it was George the Sixth. It was either George the Sixth or George the Fifth. Um, this what it's about this man who it's by Mark Logue and Peter Conradi. I don't know, that's how you say their last name. This is what the book looks like. And when I got this book, I thought that it was gonna be about like the movie, but it was actually about the guy who the king got to help him with his stutter, because when he was born, he had this stutter, and nobody really cared about it because he wasn't gonna be king or anything. But of course, due to events, he became king, and he needed somebody to help him with his speeches and his speech. And so this man, Mark Luke's grandfather, I think it was, he ends up helping the king, and he helps him through like his speeches and stuff like that. And some people think that in the back of the book, towards the end, it says that he really didn't conquer the king's speech. It was really he got rid of words in the king's speeches that were like slip up words for him, where he would have a stutter. And it takes place all the way up to his death, the king's death, and his grandfather's death, Mark Luke's grandfather's death. And it's basically it's kind of like a boring book, because it's just kind of like a biography, kind of, where um it gets kind of monotonous after a while, because they'll do like in the beginning it was just like how they became friends and stuff, and then of course when he got coronated the king and stuff like that. And then it gets into like the speech writing. So basically most of the chapters like monotonous, because it just talks about, okay, he came to Buckingham Palace, fixed his speech, the king gave a speech, and then he got great credit for it because he didn't make any mistakes or any errors. And it kind of just got boring like that. Like, if you don't like books like that, then don't read it. And I mean, I never seen the King's Speech movie. I never seen it, and I wasn't into the royals when that movie first came out. So it really wasn't that great of a book. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like, if I could compare it to the movie, I would see if it was any different. I mean, obviously it does, because it's about their lives, but it was just an okay book. So this one was a book that I really didn't like. And I got this book because I like reading about the presidents. And this is by well, this is called The Great Presidential Wit, a collection of humorous anecdotes and quotations. It's by Bob Dole. Bob Dole was the vice president for Herbert Walker Bush, I think. Yeah, and this is what it looks like. And it's basically, he puts the presidents in an order, and it goes only up to George Bush, but George Bush wasn't in the countdown yet, the last George Bush, because he just started his term. So it goes all the way up to Clinton. Yes, Clinton. And it's basically, he ranks the presidents in order by their humor, and then all the presidents, he lumped them into different parts in the book. So they're not really in chapters, they're in parts. And he just goes through them, and he basically, what he does is it's just a book of just like quotations and quotes that either somebody said about that certain president, or the president said, or a story that the president always told, or something like that. So the first president he thought was funny was Abraham Lincoln, and he goes into detail about why he thought Abraham Lincoln was funny and stuff like that. But basically it's just a book about quotes. So if you don't like reading about quotes that people said or whatever, then this book is not for you. But I mean, I don't know, it was just okay. Like, I thought I would like it because it was about presidents, but it really didn't interest me. Like, some of the quotes in it I thought were funny and some weren't. Like, some you really had to, like, either be, like, a political person to know or have some, like, understanding of how the political process went in those days or something. It was just okay. So this book was the first book I started reading after Christmas, and it was Little Women because I really wanted to go see that movie, and I never went to go see it yet. I don't know if I ever will, or I'll just get it on DVD. I don't know. But it's called Little Women. It's by Louisa May Alcott. This is what it looks like. And it was a long book, so if you really don't like reading long books, you might not want to get it. It was 507 with the afterword. And without the afterword, it was 499 pages. And it's basically about these 4 women who are living in New England, and it's just about their lives. And it's basically about how, like, it's just about how, like, each one of them was different and how they couldn't do certain things because of the fact that they were women. And it really shows you, like, stuff that happened in that book and stuff that's happening now, how it still compares, and how some things still aren't changed yet for women. And it's just a really good book. I never really read this book, and I just liked it. There are some sad parts in this book. I'm not going to give anything away, but it's a really nice book, and it shows how when they were not together and they were going their separate ways, how they realized their strength together was more important than being separated. And it was a good book. I liked it. Some chapters were short in it, some were long. But other than that, it was a great book for being like a classical type of book, classic literature type of book. Excuse me. This is called Pet in Peril. It's a TV pet chef mystery. It's by Marie Celine. This is what it looks like. And it's about these 2 women. The one owns this pet gourmet chef TV show where she cooks food for pets, like just for like cats and dogs so far. And she has this assistant, her best friend, Fran, who they end up going to this spa where you can take your dogs to it and your, like, any pets. And here this man dies, and here Katie has to figure out who did it, because of the fact that Fran had connections with this man, and she wants to clear her friend's name. And it was a really good book. It was really funny. Some of the stuff that happened in that book, the characters were really, like, sarcastic, which I think is really good in, like, a mystery kind of book, because it, like, cuts away from a lot of the drama that's in these books. And it was a really good book because when I first started reading it and they started, like, doing the suspects and stuff, I kind of thought, like, with the Kitty, I thought, okay, I was on the same page with her of who did it. And then at the end, when you realize who really did it, you're like, wow, that was somebody that you would never expect would do something like that. Or, well, the person kind of did it for a specific reason, but it didn't really work in her favor or their favor. So yeah, this was a good book. I don't know where I got this book even from. Like, I just picked it out from just randomly, and that's what I got. But it was a good book. I really liked it. So this is the 5th book in the Outlander series. It's a big book. It's like 900 some pages, and these books are really long, to be honest. So if you don't really like I said, if you don't really like reading long books, do not read this. This is by Diane Gabaldon. I never know how you say her last name. And this is the 5th book. It's called The Fiery Cross. This is what it looks like. And the reason why it's called The Fiery Cross is because, and I don't know if I'm going to get the details exactly right, but it was a thing where they would set this they would set this cross thing on fire, and they would go around to the different communities to get people to come to their gathering, which was kind of like sort of like a family kind of type reunion, sort of ish, and stuff. So what happens is this takes place before the Civil War. It takes place like in 1771, and I think at the end of the book it's close to like 1773. And basically it's still about Jamie and Claire and their daughter their daughter Roger, their daughter Brianna, and her husband Roger, and Brianna's son Gemini. I don't know how you say his name in the book. It's like Jemmey or something like that. And basically what happens is these they live in North Carolina, in like the forested area of North Carolina. They're secluded from everything. And they're basically trying to like make ends meet. They're trying, like to do these things and stuff. Well, then Jamie gets this thing where he has to fight these um regulators who are causing problems in the city, and he's trying to get it so that there's no war. And what happens, there's another thing that happens in the book where Roger wants to find out, or what Roger wants to find out who Brianna's son really is, because that night, like on her wedding night, she was with Roger, but then somebody else came into the picture, Stephen Bonnet, and did something horrible to her. And they're still trying to find him and stuff. And it was a really good book. I mean, some of the things when you write a book like this, I mean, some of the things in it I really like. They could have like crossed some of this stuff out, because it really didn't have any significance in the book usually. But the one thing I really like about this book, it's like in this series, sometimes when you read a series of books, the stuff from like the previous books never show up into the book you're reading in the series currently. But these books, everything comes full circle. So it's like they still talk about stuff that happened way, way back in book 1 or in 2 or 3 or 4. And it just is like trying to solve like this mystery kind of thing. And they're trying to figure out, like, can Brianna's son, if her and Roger decide to go back, if things get really bad, can they go back through the stones with him, because they don't know if he could time travel or not. And it was a nice book. I think the next one will be really good because of the fact that the next one's probably going to be like the Revolutionary War. And I want to see if, because Lord John Grey wasn't in this book a lot, he was just like writing letters back and forth from him to Jamie. And I'm wondering if like there's going to be like a confrontation in the 6th book, if the the Revolutionary War happens, where he like maybe he has to like fight John Grey or Lord John Grey or something. I think that would be a really funny, ironic thing, because then that would come full circle in the book. Okay, last but not least is this book. I haven't read one of these books in a really long time, and I know I have a couple of them. And this is a series called, Annie's Attic Mysteries. It's about this woman who inherits from a relative this old house, and it's full of these weird antiques in the attic. And this is called Emeralds in the Attic, and it's by Jan Fields, and this is what it looks like. And I love these books because they always come with like a bookmarker inside the book already, so it's easy. You don't have to like find a bookmarker or a piece of paper or something to use as a bookmarker. And Annie and her friends from the Hook and Needle Club, that's like a little knitting club, are making masks for this masquerade ball for charity. And Annie finds and they're making those, and then there's this actual ball or something that they're all going to, and they have to dress up. And they ask Annie if they could go into the attic and find some like old timey outfits, because that was like that was the theme. It's like old timey flapper era-esque type of thing. And here she finds these emerald earrings, and they're like costume jewelry type of earrings, and here they get stolen at this party. And Annie doesn't know why, because they are knockoffs. They are just costume jewelry. And she has to figure out why this person took it. And there's like this cool story about why they were stolen, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was way different than like a little twist in any like mystery that I ever read. So those were my books for this week. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.